So, a couple of weeks ago I showed you my pre-touring setup and kind of what I keep under my seat, but I didn't actually show you what was under the seat. So here's how it looks once it's all put away. We've got the toolkit, the chemicals, the spare lights, the tyre plug kit, the electrical setup and the first aid kit, all compactly fitting under the seat. So that's kind of everything I need right there. But today we're going to be carrying out the pre-checks that we mentioned in the last video. So we're going to be tightening the chain, cleaning the bike, changing the oil, flushing the oil. Yeah, so let's see how we get on. So, a lot of people out there already know how to maintain their bike, but these videos are designed solely for the newer rider who's not familiar with like how to tighten their chain or change their brake pads. So what I'm going to do is split this out over 4 or 5 short videos, just demonstrating quickly the basic principles of how to change your brake pads, how to oil your chain and clean it. And hopefully the newer riders will find these videos very useful. So let's begin. So, as you probably already guessed from the title of this video, today we're going to be checking the chain, tightening the chain, cleaning the chain and then lubing the chain. So let's begin with what we're going to need. So these are the items you're going to need to clean, oil and adjust your chain, and it starts with chain cleaner, chain lube, a brush, then you've got your pliers, your socket, your bars and your spanners. Well, most bike toolkits will come with one of these under the seat, and that is to loosen off your rear nut so you can make an emergency chain adjustment. But note the word emergency, it's when you're on the go, not for when you're at home. When you're at home, you should be using a torque wrench and then using your owner's manual to find out exactly how much torque you should be putting on that rear nut, because you don't want to thread it and you don't want it too loose that it's going to undo slightly. So let's begin with cleaning the chain. As you may be aware, there are a couple different types of chains and different types of cleaner for those chains. So the best way to avoid confusion is get one that's compatible with all chains, like this WD-40 is compatible with O, X and Z ring. This is obviously far easier if you have a centre stand, but if you don't, you can buy a stand, or alternatively you can just push it along the floor and keep cleaning bit by bit. But the first check we're going to do is a little pull of the chain on the rear sprocket. Just wheel it round. If any of the chain comes back and off a little bit, it's going to suggest that your chain's either far too loose or it needs replacing. So give that a good check. So there's no special technique for this, it's just a matter of spraying on your chain cleaner and then brushing it off. And you'll see how quick that makes a difference. It's so quick and easy, there's no special technique, and anyone can do it. And now, just to remove any residue, we'll put a bit of water around it, so give it a quick once over. So, now the chain's clean, we're going to leave that for 5 minutes to dry, and then we're going to coat it with a brand new layer of lubricant. So, whilst we still have this bike elevated on its centre stand, what we're going to do is spin the tyre around and we're going to look for the tightest point of the chain, because that's what we're going to be adjusting. So we found the tightest spot in the chain, and that just so happens to be here, and we're just going to give it a mild adjustment so it's got 1 inch of play, and then this chain will be perfect to go. So let's begin. So all we're doing here is removing the split pin and then loosening the rear nut. So all we're doing is loosening the nut closest to the front tyre, and that will release the rear nut, which we can now adjust the chain with. As you move the spanner down, it's literally just going to push back that chain a tiny bit. So you need to do this very carefully and check the chain as you go. Now you're going to notice some markings on the rear slider. Now it's very important that these match on both sides. And now we're just going to tighten the nuts back up by holding one spanner on one nut and then adjusting the other. So, that's how you clean, adjust and maintain a healthy chain. All that's left to do now is adjust the rear nut back up to the specification required in the service manual and put the split pin back in. So, according to the service manual, for the J model we should have our torque set at 125 Nm. So that's what we're going to set our torque wrench at. So, I hope you found some parts of this video helpful, and next time we're going to be changing the oil, so I will see you then. Thanks for watching. So, most under-seat bike